Oh, hi, it's Peter Rohner from GBM Resources, ASX code GBZ. Looking forward to talking to you, Matt, today.
Peter, good to see you. Saw you back in November. I wanted to catch up because there's been a few things happening, not least of all, a new COO shows a bit of intent. Want to tell us a bit about him?
Yeah, look, Tom joined us late last year. He's a mining engineer, very experienced in project evaluation and project development activities, having worked more recently for Oceana Gold and then previously Mungana Gold and Aeris. So look, yeah, Tom's taking a big load off me in terms of advancing the Drummond Basin projects in all aspects, from managing the environmental aspects as well as starting to do mining optimization studies on the various resources. So yeah, big help for me, and obviously looking forward to advancing those projects towards development over the next couple of years.
I thought the interesting thing was, his skill set. It kind of shows what you're trying to do. It's a real pointer as to how you want to move forward. So I thought that was interesting and worth talking about. We spoke in November. I would request that people go and look at the link below to sort of get into the weeds with regards to the various projects, because you get a lot of projects in the portfolio. Okay, so I don't want to go over old ground per se, but if you may give me some headlines. So any update on White Dam?
Yeah, look, operationally it's going well since we've taken over last July. We're generating good free cash flow there. We're obviously reinvesting a little bit of that in terms of adding value to the assets by doing pit optimization studies there to also get back into a mining campaign sometime later this year or early next year. It's obviously supporting corporate overhead costs, but it's an asset that's non-core for us longer term, and so we are looking at corporate opportunities to either divest the asset in full or do a JV, a partial sale of the asset. So look, the key, as we've said over the last couple of months, is really focusing our effort on the Drummond Basin portfolio of gold projects and freeing up cash and capital value from White Dam will allow us to accelerate our activities in the Drummond Basin later this year.
Right, okay, and we'll come on to the Drummond Basin with Yandan and Twin Hills, Mount Coolon and Illuminata as well. But I think it's just worth framing this for people. So you understand what you've got to do. White Dam is throwing off $250,000 per month for you, but there's a kind of, if you can offload it, you get a big chunk of money, and that will be put towards drilling and focusing on the Drummond Basin. So let's talk about, let's move very quickly and quickly through the JVs with Malmsbury, Morgan and Cloncurry. I mean, how are they? Where are they at? How much is being spent?
Yeah, look, Malmsbury's going well with Nova. We started a drill program just before Christmas. We've done. We're on to hole 6 now. We've done about 1,200 metres drilling the 11 Star and sort of the Belltopper Hill reef systems. We expect to have some results coming out of that over the next 2 or 3 weeks to update the market on the initial holes. I mean, assay turnaround's not terrible in Australia at the moment. It's a little bit better than it was late last year, but it's still taking sort of 4 to 5 weeks for some projects. Then we'll move in Malmsbury. We'll move down onto the Drummond North Field and finish that program off by about May this year. So a lot of holes still to go in, and a lot of news flow still to come on the JV with Novo. And the budget last year was about $1.6 million, and we're just finalising the budget for calendar 22, but it'll be up around a similar amount.
Right, okay. And Mount Morgan and Cloncurry all proceeding?
Yeah, Cloncurry, we've got with the Japanese, with Nippon, JX Nippon Mining. We're starting ground EM work probably in about a month and a half's time, and then drilling later in the year. We lost most of 2021 with COVID and the restructure of the Japanese JV, but we're back. We've got our program planned for starting the ground EM and then drilling later this year. And that's obviously very prospective ground north of Ernest Henry, copper gold, IOCG and ISCG systems. And then Mount Morgan, the vend out into SmartSet. Look, we started this journey sort of April, May, June last year. It's been going slower than I'd probably like, but we're almost there in terms of getting the documentation finalised to submit to the exchange, the TSX, and then hopefully we can complete that transaction by late this half or early in July, August.
Okay, so let's move on to the main course, as it were. Drummond Basin, we talked last time about a couple of projects. We talked about Yandan and Twin Hills. Yandan was sort of low grade bulk type scenario. It didn't cost a lot to pick up. So can you sort of give us an update on that? And then I guess you were a little bit more keen or interested in the Twin Hills story last time we spoke. So we follow up with that.
Yeah, look, we wrapped up drilling last year on Yandan and Mount Coolon resources. We've got some interesting results at Yandan, and that's leading into a resource upgrade program of work that we're doing now. Look, there's two sort of targets there. There's the high grade cherry that's down in the core of the resource that we've already announced, and then there's a lower grade halo wrapped around it. We've done a bit more thinking since the drilling, and we're confident we understand the geology, and there'll be some news coming out on that over the next month or so. And then late in the year, we drilled Glen Eva, Eastern Siliceous Zone, and Koala. Got really good veining and an extension of the epithermal vein system, but haven't really found the high grade windows into that system yet. But that's obviously on reviewing the geology and the drilling. We'll target that in the back half of this year. But really, it's all about, in the first 6 months, it's all about Twin Hills. We completed the transaction in January this year, and we basically got the rig started in the second week of August on the ground there. We've done 5 holes for about 2,000 metres, and we've got another 12 holes left in that program. And then we've already mapped out a program this is the 309 deposit, the first deposit to the north, and then we've got another about 5,500 metre program, finalising the plan for that lone sister, which will kick off in June, July. So look, the first probably 6 months, from February onwards, we'll drill about 12 or 13,000 metres at both 309 and Lone Sister, and we're certainly seeing the geology we're expecting from the resource model and rock model. Assays, again, we should have in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get the first 2 or 3 holes back from the labs, and then we'll report those to the market.
So, like I said last time, there's a lot of moving parts here for people kind of looking in, and that's why it's interesting last time, and I get a little bit today, where you kind of break down, what you tend to do with each of those assets. I mean, but the broad thought, I think, from you is offload non-core and get focus, because it feels like, was coming from a position of where's the focus, and now you got to get focused. So Drummond Basin is your focus. So offloading White Dam, clearly critical because it could bring in a chunk of change for drilling into Drummond Basin. How do you feel about the kind of format, the JVs and the formats? Will you let those run? At the moment, or do you think you offload those?
Yeah, look, in the short term, we'll let them run. Like, they're not obviously costing us anything. Malmsbury.
But they're distraction, right? Aren't they?
Well, not really. I mean, we've got separate teams on both those projects. Obviously, the geological market's getting a bit tight, so it probably wouldn't hurt to be able to refocus some of those hours into the Drummond Basin. But look, for the next 3 or 4 months, I've still got to, I suppose, finalise the Milo transaction, where we get another couple of $1 million worth of shares out of CUR. The Mayfield option we just signed about a month ago. Get the Smart Set Mount Morgan thing finalised. Once I've got those 3 things sort of behind us, then we certainly will critically evaluate both the Cloncurry JV and the Malmsbury JV and say, well, what's the best outcome for our shareholders, and what's the best way to take those assets forward, whether it's selling them, vending them out for scrip, or doing a cash deal on either of those assets.
Okay, because you've had a good run of it in terms of the share price the last 2 years. Okay, you're up from 3 cents to 12 cents. No one's going to complain about that. And like even this year, having gone from what's it said, but 9 cents to 12 cents in the last 12 months. So it's slowed down a bit. Do you think people understand what you're trying to be? I mean, like I say, for me, I thought the big moment was, the CEO said, I think I finally understand what it is that they want to be. And I'm going to be less distracted by all of the other moving parts. But at 60 million market cap, and last time we spoke, you had 8 million in cash and equities. I guess the equities bit's a little bit down at the moment. But do you have enough cash to get focused in, and for people to be able to go, I know that they are a pure play exploration company in the Drummond Basin, or whatever it is that you want to be people thinking about you?
Yeah, look, we've got obviously with Twin Hills, we've got now 1.6 million ounces in the basin. So we've got a good, critical mass of resources there that we can start to evaluate, mining options. I think we probably need to be closer to, plus 2 million ounces before we really have enough, that can convert into reserves. Certainly the Twin Hills resources are the better quality resources in the portfolio, and we're pretty bullish that resource base that's now 760,000 ounces will grow to over 1 million ounces fairly quickly. So yeah, look, we're going to start to advance scoping studies in the back end of this year. The issue we had this I suppose strategy of using Yandan as a centralised processing hub, which is what Ross Mining did in the 80s to 90s. The centre of gravity may move a little bit because of how good Twin Hills is, and so we just don't want to start with framing a project where Yandan's the processing centre of the universe and then have to sort of flip it on its head and say, well, actually, Twin Hills is the better spot because the resource base is far bigger there and the quality of the ounces are better. So we probably need another 6-7 months, get this first phase drilling program done at 309 and Lone Sister, and then really start to evaluate the Twin Hills system and say, yep,
right.
There's a standalone operation there, and there's another operation.
That kind of makes more sense to me because again, some clues you gave in the last conversation we had. So, and you also said today we were sort of, reevaluating or rethinking the way that we come at the drill program, because I guess with a kind of restricted budget, it's all relative. And what you're starting to see at Twin Hills, in fact, what are the variables that you're thinking and saying, oh, this looks quite good, and we may have to reassess where the centre is. What are the clues that only 5 drill holes in? So what are those clues that you're getting?
Well, yeah, I mean the resource. We've got a much better understanding of the geologies over the last 3, 4, 5 months. The drill holes are confirming what we're seeing in the block model. We're starting to see some, hopefully, extensions to the mineralisation. But the ounces, hang together really well from what we've seen.
What's that mean? Just for people who don't understand, what does that mean? They're hanging together quite well.
Look, it's an ore body. Obviously, it was mined. The 309 deposit was mined in 2006-7, and the operation failed. But they were trying to mine sort of 15 gram head grade, and it just, it's a breccia pipe. It's certainly got some very super high grade veins inside but in terms of bulk mineable widths, it's sort of sitting around that sort of 3 gram, 3.5, 4 gram for underground, and maybe 1.5, 2 gram for open pit. So if you're trying to mine it at a cut-off grade of 2 or 3 grams and get a head grade of 10 or 15, it's patchy. But if you drop the cut-off grade, there's a lot of ounces in the high-grade lenses, and then there's a lot of in the breccia system. So it's certainly suitable for open pit, and obviously the current gold price in Australian dollar terms supports a slightly lower cut-off grade than people looked at it previously.
Right, and so, and again, I just want to be clear with people watching this, what it is that you are trying to do. So you talked about kind of getting into the study phase and getting this thing to production. If you can get it over, 2 million ounce and look at, what your reserves could be. You are the guys that are going to get this thing into production, right?
Well, we've certainly got the skill sets. We've got mining engineering. I'm a metallurgist. I've been involved in a lot of project development. Certainly not scared of advancing the project towards development. We're not a bunch of geos or accountants that just want to drill and keep pushing this thing along in the background. We know how to bring stuff in. I think we just need the next 6 months to really frame the different resources and then get there's optionality in the resources at Twin Hills. There's a decline already in 309, so we could go underground first at 309 and Lone Sister, and then do open pit later. Obviously, if we go underground, we've got a higher head grade, so that could be trucked, to Yandan, and could. There's flotation. The ores are amenable to flotation and making gold concentrate. So, we're just trying to look at all that optionality now and then start to say, well, how do all these pieces fit together? And if Twin Hills turns out to be 1.5, 2 million ounces, well, clearly there's going to be a plant there. If it sits around the million and with all the other resources, maybe maybe the Yandan story still fits together if we do flotation or do the underground high grade first.
Okay.
So
I think that.
well, look, we're not, we're not bereft of optionality. It's really now starting to analyse that and then frame it to the market.
Okay, understood. So we're talking about the next 6 to 9 months for going through that process. You get a better idea during that time. Can we just talk about sort of the corporate structure a little bit here, because you're doing how have you framed it? A 1 for 10 loyalty option, and then also there was some chat around shortfall securities, etc. So what's kind of happening in the background?
Yeah, look, that was really, we announced that before Christmas, and it was really about, rewarding the shareholders. Like the market, obviously, the whole Twin Hills transaction took longer than we hoped to complete and get on the ground. A lot of shareholders, the market's been going sideways for sort of 12 months, so we just wanted to make sure they had some leverage to the upside with the loyalty options. They closed. We raised the $1.28 million over the last few weeks. Interestingly, people are already converting and exercising their options early, and so that was one of the things we hoped would probably happen, is some of that option money that comes due in November starts to trickle in now, and it just gives us more flexibility to get pushed on a second drill rig at Twin Hills and maybe a third. So we've got enough funding really to do the sort of 20,000 metre program in calendar 22, but we always have a lot of option money if it's in the money at the end of this year and April next year that potentially can come on the balance sheet. We sell White Dam for a decent lick of cash, then again we're well funded for the next several years with the White Dam sale and the option exercise money that potentially comes on the balance sheet.
Brilliant. Okay, look, Peter, I just wanted to get a quick update from you, because obviously things are moving. You're kind of cleaning up house somewhat and getting on with the drilling. So, appreciate the update. Stay in touch with certainly when those assays start coming through, because it will inform some of the decisions around the optionality that you have. Been intrigued to see how you come at it.
Look, thanks for the interest, Matt, and always happy to share the story.